Legalization of marijuana was first put into effect in 1937 by Franklin D. Roosevelt when he enacted the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937. Following that, Congress overturned his ruling in 1970 and subsequently replaced it with the Controlled Substances Act. The federal prohibition of marijuana ever since has been continuing. However, some 33 states and the District of Columbia since 2012 have decriminalized or legalized it to a certain extent, whether that be for recreational, medical use, or both. However, as we see the ever-increasing legalization rates, we also see some potential public safety and health risks. The legalization of marijuana, despite some health benefits, has many health risks to consider. In addition, the production of marijuana goes largely unregulated and is not controlled by the FDA. So concerning the public safety risk, the legalization of marijuana has many. The first thing is that there's no real way to regulate the driving under the influence of cannabis. In a 2018 report by the Colorado Department of Public Safety, the number of fatalities where a driver tested positive for cannabis increased from 11% of all fatalities in 2013 to 21% of all fatalities in 2017. In addition, the current regulation on the production of marijuana is entirely inadequate. In a 2017 report by the Food and Drug Law Institute, James E. Swager, a tobacco sector consultant and board-certified toxicologist, Caitlin F. Atchison, a public analyst and attorney, and Bill McGrath, a partner in the Potomac Law Group's FDA and stewardship practices, all of them are consultants for the marijuana sector as well. Regulations on the production and distribution of cannabis and cannabis products vary by state, and all of these regulations differ drastically from each other. There's no set rules and regulations and guidelines concerning the production and distribution of marijuana. In addition, there have been increasingly more reports of bacterial and fungal contaminations of the product, as well as the usage of banned pesticides. And according to the Family Smoking Prevention and Tobacco Act of 2009, different blends of tobacco results in different toxicity levels, thereby rendering that a new strain. So, applying the same logic to cannabis, since tobacco and cannabis have very similar health risks to each other and include many of the same toxins and carcinogens, these new strains of marijuana that are being created without federal regulation are not studied adequately enough and do not have enough data to deem them safe for consumption. And despite the fact that marijuana has many health benefits that we have only been seeing recently and that are not studied enough, they have many negative side effects that we have the data on and have studied enough. According to a 2018 report by the Centers for Disease Control, the frequent usage of marijuana has a whole host of problems related with it. Regular smokers come in contact with many of the same carcinogens, toxins, and irritants that tobacco smokers do. Smoking marijuana can cause scarring to the small blood vessels, and irritants can cause irreparable harm to lung tissues. In addition, early exposure can lead to developmental problems associated with brain-related functions like memory and mental health, also including anxiety, depression, and increased risk for schizophrenia, especially if the gene is already there. And just this year, there's been a whole wave of hospitalizations that I'm sure we've all heard about on the news related to e-cigarettes and vaping. Over 1,000 of these mysterious lung-related illnesses and deaths can be contributed to the e-cigarette trend of vaping THC products. And a 2019 report by the Federal Drug Administration proves this. And these are some of the reasons how the previous state of illegalization of marijuana products, consumption, and distribution might benefit those in the United States, especially in regards to all of the health and public safety risks involved. As we can see, we have no set rules and regulations in regards to any of these things, and especially since it's such a new thing for the United States, that until we can learn to adequately protect our citizens, we should not have this be legal.